GoPro time-lapse set up for the early morning sunrise. My dudes, if you guys are watching this on the day I uploaded it, then it is Christmas Eve morning, and I just want to wish you guys all such a Merry Christmas. Christmas is definitely my favorite holiday of the year, and I am just so stoked to be celebrating it. I'm sad that I'm not home because I love being around my family, and I love just the Vancouver Christmas vibes this time of year, but I mean, a sunrise on the Sri Lankan beach is not too bad. So I decided to get up early, come down to the beach, and make a video that is vastly different from anything I have made before on my channel, but something that is of extreme importance and very personal to me. I really want to talk about my testimony, my faith journey, and specifically because it is Christmas and what Christmas means to me and how it's changed over the years. So if you guys are not interested in religion, you don't have to watch this video. You can come back to the next one. But if you guys are interested and you want to learn a bit more about me, because this is a huge part of my life and this is very important to me, listen on, I guess. I just ask that everyone be respectful. I'm not trying to start religious debates or any ignorant comments towards anyone. I don't want any of that. That is not the goal. So let's go. So my testimony, it begins kind of when I was a kid. We'll start there and as fast as I can work my way up to where I am now. I started out as a kid, obviously. I was never involved in the church. My whole family knew of the church and we'd go once in a while. And myself, I really never connected with anything. I thought it was boring, quite frankly. I really didn't enjoy it. So oftentimes my parents would say, hey Noah, let's go to church. And I'd be like, I don't really want to go. And then we just wouldn't go. So that was my story growing up. So I'm really happy in a way that I was able to find my faith on my own. It wasn't forced upon me. No one fed it to me. I kind of stumbled upon it myself, which I'm thankful for, but it definitely took me a while longer to kind of get the message into my head. So fast forward a couple years, I'd say about grade 5 or grade 6, I started attending a youth group. And for those of you who don't know what a youth group is, it's basically a place where you play games, but they also preach the word of God and do worship and things like that. At this age, I was very much so not involved in church. I hadn't gone to church in years. So I went and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved kicking balls. I loved meeting all the girls in the youth group. It was awesome. But when it came to worship or the word of God, I would kind of just zone out. Like I said, frankly, I thought it was pretty boring. And so I knew of God, but by no means did I know who God was. I was like, yeah, I don't need that stuff. Let's go play dodgeball. So I did that for a little while, and then we kind of stopped going. We just fell out of that youth group, and again, I took a break from everything. I didn't do anything. My sister, maybe 3-4 years later, got involved in a youth group near our house, and this is kind of where everything changed and my testimony really begins. She went for a couple times and then invited me to come out and join and see what was up, and I was like, oh yeah, youth group. I remember really enjoying that a couple years ago, so sure, why not? So I ended up going, and it was the same deal. It was kick some balls, meet some people, and then do worship and talk about God. And I had the same deal going too. I would kick some balls, I would meet some people, but I really wasn't interested in the Word of God. I should add, when I say meet people, I didn't really meet people. At this point in my life, I was self-conscious, not confident whatsoever, and very shy. I was very much so an introvert. All I did was play video games. I did this for a little while. That was it. We kind of just would go and play games and then leave. After doing that and attending this youth group, I started to make friends and build relationships, and it really changed me. The people I met, they really changed my life, as well as my leaders during that time. They really had an impact on who I am. Definitely the story doesn't end there. During this time, I was in the thick of high school, so I was definitely going through all of the typical stuff that high school guys go through, partying, girls, all that stuff, it was there. As I graduated from the youth group program, I started having the opportunity to have more responsibility in it, and people started offering to have, oh boy, she's raining. There's a storm brewing. I'm gonna continue this story, but undercover. Dogs, we gotta run. We gotta run. Seriously, I have all my camera stuff. It's raining. There we go, that is better. I found myself some cover here at the hotel, and I will continue speaking. As I was saying, I was getting offered this responsibility, and people had asked me if I wanted to be a youth leader, and I was like, heck yeah, I absolutely loved my time growing up through a youth group, and it had changed me, so I said I would love to do that. At this point, I thought I knew God a bit. I definitely didn't, and I definitely didn't think I knew him very well, but I thought I kind of got the gist of it from the things I had heard at youth group throughout the years, and the little bit of listening that I did. I ended up getting involved in helping out running games and whatever it be, but at the same time I was still going through this like high school party phase. I was very much so involved in that. So I had two conflicting things. I was doing one thing by helping out with the church and saying one thing, but then on the other hand I was going through the high school life and partying and all that stuff, and they really conflicted, as you can imagine. So I ended up, it's sad, but I ended up just like, it kind of all blew up, and I took a step back and I kind of left the church for about a year or two. I was involved in like a young adults thing once a week, but seldom would I go. Like I would skip multiple weeks and then go one and then skip a bunch more. It's just, I was really not interested in being involved, and I really wanted to chase what I had over here, which is sad considering the youth group had done so much for me and I had learned so much and it changed me so much, but I threw that all away. As I grew up and matured, I ended up going to college, and I slowly stopped doing this stuff. I mean, I was never doing anything terribly wrong, but I was chasing this and very much so just turning my back to the church. As I grew up and I went to college, I kind of realized that, and I was going back to my old ways of being more introverted and not really happy with myself. And I didn't have that fire in my heart that I knew was there and I knew I could have, but I didn't, and I didn't feel right. It's hard to explain, but I just didn't feel right. An opportunity arose around this time. My sister was actually still involved with the church, and she had said they're looking for help with this new program they're launching for the young kids, and they wanted me to come and help and get involved. And so I was in lots of talks with them, because obviously I couldn't be doing both things, being a presence at the church, but also doing all of this stuff. So I ended up getting involved with doing slides and music and lights for this program, but it got me pulled back into the ecosystem of the church, and I'm so thankful for their opportunity, because that is another like major turning point in my testimony. And so being in this, I started becoming more involved again, rekindling these relationships with more of an interest in learning about the gospel and what God had to offer, way more than I had before. And so being involved again and learning about this, I slowly started building up my responsibilities again and taking on more things, doing more, eventually ending up becoming a youth leader and really pushing myself past anywhere I had been before in terms of my faith. I was really growing. It was really good for me. That's kind of like where everything was going well, but I didn't have that strong relationship with God. I had more of a relationship, but it still wasn't where it should be. And that's kind of where the last turning point comes in, is when I left on my first trip to Asia last year. That was kind of the final turning point that really put me onto where I wanted to be. I ended up having to say goodbye to the youth group, goodbye to the church, goodbye to friends and family, everything, for 4 months, which was extremely, extremely scary to me. I was definitely stepping out of my comfort zone. I definitely didn't know what was going to happen. God had me covered. God had my back. God showed me exactly what to do. And he has changed my life in so many ways, so many ways. But anyways, I left on this trip with a faith. This time when I walked away from the church, it wasn't for any other reason than I wanted to go traveling and pursue film and photography, which is a risk in and of itself that God helped me through and I talked to him about. Yeah, I stepped away with an actual faith in God, and it stuck. It stuck, it flourished, it grew. I think being away and seeing the amazing things that God has created, the way that he's working in everyone's life around me, there's just been so many sightings of God, and just it really drove it home for me and what I believe in my faith, and that trip was a significant part in my testimony. I ended up coming back from that trip and getting involved with the church. I wasn't involved with the youth group per se, but I was helping out. I started attending church service regularly, which was a big thing for me because prior to that, I was always involved with the youth groups, which always took place on Sundays. And so I never really got the church service and the Word of God myself, frequently at least. It would happen once in a while. That was a big deal, just kind of taking that time to focus on me, focus on my faith, my journey, and it helped me grow a lot. Since then, I've been back involved with the youth group. I'm now helping out with the kids again, and it is amazing. I absolutely love all of those kids. They're such great people. Pastors, the leaders, my friends. I made my best friends from church, some of my best friends, like Zach. You guys know Mike, obviously, Annie, Keith, Kyle, Turner, Aaron, Emma, and there's so many more. I can't mention all of you guys. I love you guys though. You guys know who you are. Yeah, there's just so many amazing people, so many amazing things that have happened to me through it. And my faith is just constantly growing. It's constantly evolving. I think the way it should be. Now I am trying to constantly grow my faith and constantly learn more and be more involved. And that's where what I was failing on before, I realized looking back on it, hindsight is always 20/20, but I was never trying to grow in my faith. I would just be okay with where I was, but now I'm consistently trying to improve. So yeah, starting out as a kid and knowing of the church, but not knowing anything about it, and then getting involved with the youth group and deciding that I wasn't interested in the church at all, and more so just the games that they had to offer, into kind of being interested and wanting to get involved, but also being a guy going through high school and struggling with all of those things that every other guy struggles with, to taking a break and just kind of throwing that all away, and realizing that there's something more to life than what my mind had thought of, and realizing that I'm missing out on something, and coming back to finally find it and find my faith in God and firmly root myself in that. It has been a journey. It has been my journey, my testimony, but I'm growing every day. Like I said, I make mistakes every day. I mess up all the time. I make the wrong choices a lot. But I think what's important is that I'm growing and constantly trying to seek God and trying to listen to what He has to say. God and Christianity, and it has changed my life drastically, and that's why I'm really glad I can share this with you guys, because like I said, this is a huge part of my life. It affects the choices I make, the things I do, the people I involve myself with. Yeah, I share everything with you guys, so I think it's important that I share this part of my life with you, especially being that it's Christmas and it's the birthday of Jesus. Anyways, I think I've rambled on long enough. I'm sure you guys don't want to hear my voice just continue to drone on, but I want to thank you guys all so much for watching. Like I said, please be respectful in the comments. I know you guys always are. I can always count on you guys, but I mean, I don't want anyone's feelings to get hurt or anyone to be put down, so just keep it respectful and nice. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you so much. And there's a flying ant at my feet. Get away! Get away! And I'll see you all in another one.